So before COVID, as Ken mentioned, please go to the next slide, Vietnam was on a great path. One of the fastest growing economies in the world, a very robust trade surplus on Vietnam standards, just under 10 billion. Vietnam became kind of the sweetheart of the region for foreign investment. We saw registered FDI up to 38 billion. Most of 70% of that going into manufacturing. So we're seeing that shift from China to Vietnam. We've got this young dynamic population of about 100 million, 40% are under the age of 25. Really, they're out there spending, they're technologically savvy, they're really driving the economy. We're coming in just under the 20 million mark last year for international tourism. And then there's an amazing story of domestic tourism, coming in at 85 million. So really the key kind of golden years for Vietnam tourism, as you can see here, have really been kind of over the last decade, with a particular focus over the last 5 years where we kind of saw things kind of growing at a compounded annual growth rate of about 20%. This is all being driven by international arrivals, low-cost carriers, and Vietnam has made an incredible commitment to infrastructure spend. They actually spend more on infrastructure than any of their Southeast Asian counterparts. So connectivity is also driving a lot of this growth in tourism. So kind of where are we at today? How are we affected by the COVID virus? If you sit here today, we're looking at a painful decline in arrivals, so down 20% year over year. We're seeing occupancy rates dropping. This is I think fairly generous, saying 30%, in some cases more. We've seen 15% drop in room rates. We're seeing closure of F&B businesses. So, the impacts are severe. They can be felt, they're being felt in a very serious manner here. We're seeing some interesting things happen in terms of M&A groups now looking to merge. We're seeing creative approaches to management, etc. So the market is definitely in a state of change right now, and kind of how this all shakes out, it'll be interesting to see over the next over the next 6 to 12 months. So now let's talk about the path to recovery. So Vietnam did obviously a superb job at managing the virus. The Economist actually just released a report saying that Vietnam is actually looking like it'll be the 12th strongest economy in the world post-virus. Or post-corona. So Vietnam has put itself in a superb position to make a strong rebound. And a recent survey actually shows that 80% of Vietnamese are actually positive about the future. So this actually helped reinstate a lot of confidence from the government into the people in how the situation has been managed. And there's definitely a sense of pride here in Vietnam that's very palatable here, that people feel that we came out of this very well, and that the future is still presents a lot of opportunity. So just looking back, April 23rd, we've started to see things open up, flights resuming, buses, public transportation, trains, all starting to resume schedules, albeit at much lower rates than before. The government is stepping in now, putting up about $2.5 billion into promoting into supporting hospitality, tourism, F&B industry, unemployment. So we're seeing a very strong support from the government. It's very high on the agenda here today to get the economy back into shape. And we've seen some early indications. We just experienced the first holiday since the social distancing program has been lifted and flights have opened up. And early indications suggest that the Vietnamese market, they're keen to get back into their travel habits. We did see people traveling quite extensively over the holidays. I think the biggest change that we saw is people were looking to localize their travel habits, so they were choosing to drive to nearby locations. For example, close to Saigon here, Mui Ne, which is within driving distance, was full. Phu Quoc, which is a short flight away, where I spent the long weekend, was not so busy. So I think people will gradually go from driving to flying locally to flying regionally and then internationally. So what's driving all this growth in Vietnam? Spending power with robust GDP growth rate. People have more money in their pockets. We have this growing upwardly mobile middle class and rapid urbanization. Improved mobility with increased flights. We have new airlines opening up, budget airlines, increased infrastructure spend. And Vietnamese are generally have very much bought into the concept of holidays in a very big way. And it's, you know, we're seeing considerably more spend of household spend being allocated to travel, which is very encouraging for the future. The government has a number of other initiatives, including the Vietnam Now campaign, where they're going to look to promote further tourism throughout the Asia Pacific. We're really going to be pushing business travel on a controlled basis. Obviously, we're going to propose if things such as visa incentives, other things, once the COVID situation is under control, to encourage guests to return to Vietnam. And overall, I think, you know, if you look at China and South Korea, which are the two key feeder markets, it seems like their situations are going to come under control relatively quickly. So we should be able to bounce back, you know, as globally the economy kind of deals with this. So kind of just to summarize here, as we look back, Vietnam has experienced incredibly rapid growth over the last decade in the tourism industry. The economy has been growing strong. During Corona, unlike most countries, it's had an impact on the tourism market, but Vietnam has dealt with it in a very meaningful way, building up a lot of confidence in the country. And looking forward, we believe that you know, the Vietnam tourism market is gonna recover quickly. It'll initially led by domestic tourism. People will stay close to home, and as we start to see international tourism come back, we think it'll be quite robust, as Vietnam is positioned both from an economic standpoint for business travel very strongly, and then also on the leisure side. So those are my remarks. Thank you for your time, and I'll pass you on to my other panelists now. Thank you.